Hey YouTube, this is CFL Fanatic here with your Week 16 picks. It was quite a week last week, so we'll get to some news and the picks this week in just a second. But first, we'll see how I did last week. Drum roll, please. 2-2. All right. Well, the Riders and the Owls were pretty much both locks to win, as far as I was concerned. But I don't think I did too bad. Some surprises. Alright, so we'll get to some news here. If you're living in Moncton, good news for you. The CFL is bringing a game in September of 2010 to a new stadium in Moncton, in which the Argonauts will be the home team. So let's hope they have an actual good team there. So yeah, finally coming out to Atlantic Canada. That's pretty good. So good news for fans in Atlantic Canada. Not so good news for fans in Saskatchewan. Weston Dressler suffered an injury last week against the Toronto Argonauts, and he is going to be out for at least the remainder of the regular season. In fact, his season may even be done. So, unfortunate for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they're having difficulty filling the void. Alright, so we'll get to a new segment I call CFL Fanatics 30-second rundown, where I talk about each team for 30 seconds, strengths, weaknesses, next steps. Alright, so we'll start it off far to the east, the Montreal Alouettes, and what can I say? Great team. Punishing defense, a very, very, very strong offense, and some good special teams too. The Montreal Alouettes 12-2 on the season, and the record really speaks for itself. Overall they've had such a successful season, and these guys are the all-stars of the CFL. So we'll move one east, and again with the Toronto Argonauts. What can I say? The numbers speak for themselves. 3-11 on the season. Not very good. In fact, that's brutal. So, next steps, may I emphasize this again, fire Bart Andrus. I cannot stress that enough. He's done nothing for the team. While you're at it, get rid of your whole coaching staff. They have no CFL experience. This team is broken. Alright, on to the Hamilton Tiger Cats now, who suffered a huge defeat against the Bombers last week. At one point it was 31-0. 31-0? Are you kidding me? Alright, so not all that great. The offense seemed to come alive in the fourth quarter. They pulled the game to within 10, actually, so that was very good. But come on, Hamilton. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Let's go. Let's go. You got to pick it up. I would like to see this East stay interesting. So we'll move to the Bombers now. Last week I said that the Bombers might be getting a little lucky in that their success was not genuine. And this week I take it all back. Very convincing win against the Tiger Cats. Very, very strong. And, what can I say? This is turned into a great team, a team that's turned things around. It's hard to believe they were fighting against the Argos to stay out of last in the league last year. Or just a couple weeks ago. So we'll move west to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They put up 28 points against the Toronto Argonauts in the first half, but let's keep in mind this is Toronto. And in the second half, they only managed 4 points. Saskatchewan, that is not going to cut it. Only a single point in the fourth quarter. The third quarter. The third quarter's killed them all season. But really, they do look relatively strong. A couple slip-ups, not too drastic. The Calgary Stampeders. Wow. I don't know what to say. 32-11 loss, an absolute drilling by the Montreal Alouettes. They pounded the Stampeders, and the Stampeders are not looking good. Really, their offense has just looked so ineffective for the past 3 weeks or so. And, their defense looked okay last week, last week they looked bad, but 2 weeks before they looked okay. So we'll move on to the Edmonton Eskimos, and another loss in the last minute of football. I don't know what it is with the Esks. This has happened. They've been involved in a lot of last-second games this year. But overall, they were down 27-11, and they came back, scored 20 points. So really, the Edmonton Eskimos are just kind of struggling a little bit, but, it's just the last second. So we'll move to the BC Lions. Alright, so the BC Lions had a relatively convincing win last week against the Eskimos. Kudos on the Giroy. Oh man, I can't talk today. The G. Roy Simon touchdown. Wow, that was very entertaining to watch. So you know what, BC, keep it up, 7-7. You know that's not bad, but really, I think Edmonton is still right on your tail. So you got to watch out. And this has been CFL Fanatics 30-second rundown. And so, without further ado, we're on the main attraction, Week 16. We'll start with Friday Night Football. The Edmonton Eskimos taking on the Toronto Argonauts. Didn't take me too long to pick a winner for this one, and it shouldn't have taken you too long either. The Edmonton Eskimos will definitely win this game. So we'll move to Saturday now. Saskatchewan Roughriders at Calgary Stampeders. Always a good game in McMahon Stadium when these two play. But Calgary is struggling, and Saskatchewan is doing relatively well. So I don't think there will be too much of a competition here. I'm going with the Riders to take first in the West. Alright, so we'll move to our first Sunday game this week. Hamilton Tiger Cats at Montreal Alouettes. You know, I'm expecting the Hamilton Tiger Cats to start having a little bit of success this season. But you know, Montreal, 12-2. Last time these two met, Montreal hammered Hamilton, and I'm not expecting anything different. I am going with the Montreal Alouettes to win this game. Which brings us to our final game, BC Lions at Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I don't know why the people who write the schedule do this to me. This is so difficult. I don't know who to pick to win on this one. Well, BC had a good game against Edmonton, but they did have some struggles. They did well in the first half, but second half, not quite as good. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers really controlled that game against the Ticats completely. So it's difficult, but I am going to go with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to win next week's game. So this has been CFL Fanatic. Hope you enjoy Week 16 in the CFL. It should be a good one. And stay tuned. I'll keep updating next week, and I'll see you then.